27th of September 2024, during the United Nations General Assembly in New York, when it was time for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's speech. More than half of the diplomats walked out of the assembly, showing their backs to Netanyahu in protest. The message was clear: Israel's bombing of Gaza and Lebanon. But what's the point of walking out? After that, Israel has also started attacks on Yemen. If we talk about Gaza alone, more than 42,000 innocent people have been killed in the last year. Children and women were also included in them, and millions of homeless people were separated. The United States, the European Union, and the UK have warned Israel many times that this war could also be a terrible one. One glimpse of this was seen on October 1st, 2024, when Iran fired 200 ballistic missiles at Israel from 1,800 kilometers away. And the report until October 2 is that Israel has threatened Iran with a serious result. Israel is fighting on three fronts like an uncontrolled monster. How did the small Israel, surrounded by Arab countries in the Middle East, get so much power? What is the reason that despite the constant warnings of the world's great powers, it has failed to stop Israel? Welcome back to Info Edge Videos. Viewers, before understanding Israel's real power, it is also important to understand a little about the current situation. Israel and Palestine have been a problem since the time when they did not exist. The condition is that Israel has pushed the Palestinians to a small strip called the Gaza Strip. This territory is spread over an area of only 360 square kilometers, from where it is neither easy to leave nor to go inside. On one side is the Mediterranean, on the other side is Egypt, so Israel is on both sides. Only the necessary items go here, only when Israel wants. This is why the international community believes that the Gaza Strip is the world's largest open-air prison. Gaza is currently under Hamas control, which is a militant wing. Last year in October, when Hamas fired thousands of rockets at Israel, the response Israel started is still going on. The biggest loss is being done to the local population of Gaza, who are being pushed into this war even though they don't want to. More than 42,000 people were killed, including children. Thousands of people were homeless, and it is difficult to count the number of injured. Gaza, which was a city, now looks like a lot of millions of tons of mulberry. Israel says that they have done all this to end the militant wing of Hamas and will continue to do so. But the thought does not come to mind that how can the militant wing of Gaza, whose population was close to 5 lakh in 2017, be 42,000 people, i.e. 8.5% of the population. To avoid Israel's attacks, the local population of Gaza has only one way left to leave the Gaza Strip and take refuge in Lebanon. Yes, the same Lebanon where Israel's airstrikes are taking place, but this is not so easy. First, Egypt has to enter Jordan through the Red Sea, then Syria, and finally Lebanon. Lebanon has a lot of Hezbollah, which is an Iranian-backed militant group, and this group also helps Hamas in Gaza. But who is Hezbollah? In the 1980s, during the civil war in Lebanon, Israel had occupied South Lebanon. To compete with Israel, an armed group emerged there, which was named Hezbollah. This group pushed Israel out of Lebanon, and since then, it has been a powerful political and militant wing of Lebanon. Experts say that this group is more powerful than Lebanon's army, and it has received support from Iran. Since the existence of Hezbollah, it has been a threat to Israel, and its rise has become an ordinary everyday. But last year, after the attacks on Gaza, Hezbollah had openly announced to support Palestinians. Now here a new problem has arisen for Israel. Because it was easy to attack Gaza, but now they had to answer Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now Israel needed a big reason to attack Lebanon directly. Experts believe that's when they planned pager attacks. On 17th and 18th of September 2024, more than 3,000 pagers and radio sets of Hezbollah were blown up. Hezbollah blamed it on Israel and also fired many rockets on Israel. The time was now come. Israel started airstrikes on South Lebanon from the next day, and thousands of people were forced to leave their homes. In this operation, Hezbollah's commander, Hassan Nasrallah, died. On the other hand, countries around the world have also tried their best to end the Middle East before it gets worse. And many countries have criticized Israel a lot. If we talk about help, many aids have been announced for Gaza from all over the world. If we talk about the U.S., Then on 30th of September 2024, according to Reuters, the United States announced $300 million in aid for Palestinians in Gaza. On March 7, 2024, U.S. President Joe Biden announced a military port to help Gaza. And on February 27th, this year, USAID also announced immediate aid of $53 million. We find such countless announcements on various news websites. But where most countries in the world are criticizing Israel, Israel is getting more intense in these attacks. After all, what is the reason that small Israel, which is surrounded by Arab countries, is not being controlled by anyone? This case was also raised in the United Nations Security Council 3 times in the past year. The UN Security Council takes the representative part of different countries, and any issue is decided by voting, and this decision then has to be accepted by the next country. But when the 3-time ceasefire agreement was made in the Security Council, the United States rejected this decision using its veto power. Yes, the same America that announced aid worth millions of dollars for Gaza. In June 2024, America itself filed an agreement for a ceasefire, which was passed in the Security Council, but was later vetoed. On one hand, President Joe Biden says that war is not in anyone's control. On the other hand, America also used veto powers in the United Nations. Not only that, but according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, 69% of all weapons imported between 2019 and 2023 were ordered from America. More and more, Israel is also given military aid of $3.8 billion every year by the United States. All this information is also publicly available. People say that America does talk about stopping the attacks on Gaza, but on the other hand, it also supports Israel. This is why the war is increasing instead of decreasing, which can also take on a terrible form in the Middle East in the coming time. But here comes an important question: that why is America doing this? The answers to this question are found in religion. According to a research of the U.S. Wheaton College, a very large population in America, about 35 to 40% of people are those who have complete faith in the Bible and follow it. Many of them believe that Israel is made according to the Bible. America has an organization whose purpose is to raise voice for Israel's protection and Jews. This organization is called CUFI, that is Christians United for Israel. The organization has 10 million members worldwide, including many big names in American politics. This group of Christians is also called Zionists. Remember that Christianity is a different religion and Jewish is a different one. While Zionism is a political movement that works in favor of Israel, most importantly, it is not necessary that every Jew or Christian is Zionist. How does this group of Zionists make their own decisions in American politics or government? For this, there is a separate committee called APC. This is the world's largest and most powerful lobbying committee that can make its own decisions in the American Congress whenever it wants. All decisions are made in the U.S. Congress. New laws are made, budgets are approved, and wars are also signed. Members of the U.S. Congress make all these decisions through voting. Now, if a large group buys most of the members of the U.S. Congress and tells them that they have to vote in such and such resolution, then it is called lobbying. And the amazing thing is that lobbying in America is absolutely legal. But there are some conditions for this. The one who is lobbying has to keep all these details public, and under the table, no Congress members have to pay. That is, whatever happens will happen in front of everyone. AIPAC's website clearly states that this group lobbies the American government to implement Israeli policies. Not only that, but 98% of the candidates who stood in the U.S. general election and received AIPAC support won the election. These candidates were also given $40 million. This group not only implements Israel-like policies in American politics, but also works to defeat those who are against Israel. It is written on their website that they defeated 24 candidates who were against pro-Israel policies. AIPAC's support for Israel has now taken on a very terrifying form. It so happened that in Israel's bombings and in Gaza, South Africa filed a case against human rights violations in the International Criminal Court. This court is a part of the United Nations, but it is not under direct control of the United States. On April 24, 2024, 12 U.S. senators received a threatening letter from ICC Chief Prosecutor Asad Karim Khan, in which it was written that we have received a report that the ICC is going to issue orders to arrest Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders. It was written that if you do this, we, that is, the U.S., will impose the worst sanctions against your institution. We will also ban your and your family's U.S. visits. This letter clearly stated, if you target Israel, we will target you. And at the end of the letter, it mentioned, you have been warned. With this letter, the names and signatures of the 12 U.S. senators were also attached. The interesting thing is that the AIPAC website has a list of all the senators who are pro-Israeli candidates and for whom funding is being collected. And the names of the senators who wrote threatening letters to the chief prosecutor of the ICC are also written openly in this list. But the story is still left. You must have heard about bonds. Most governments issue bonds to investors to deposit money. In return, the bond buyer is given annual profit. The benefit of this is that the government gets money in the form of a loan, and when the bond has to be returned, the government also buys it back. Now let's come to the real story. According to a story of The Guardian in August 2023, a representative of the Israeli bonds emailed the Ohio State Treasurer in the United States and asked if he would buy an Israeli bond worth $5 million. Normally, it is not easy for any government to sell anything. It requires a lot of complications and permission from different people. But surprisingly, in the next 40 minutes, the Trier office approved the purchase of Israeli bonds. Later, it was found that after the war between Hamas and Israel, various U.S. states and municipalities have purchased Israeli bonds worth at least $1.7 billion. It seems that there are many reasons, not only one to support America's Israel, but the last one is support of America in the Middle East. As you know, there have been problems between Iran and the U.S. for the past few decades. Whether it is the 20-year American occupation in Afghanistan or the war in Iraq, America needs a loyal partner in the Middle East and South Asia. And who can do this partnership except Israel? Although it is not a big deal to end the war in the Middle East, Arab countries want their own state to be given to the Palestinians. But Israel does not accept a two-state solution at any cost. I hope you will like and share this video of InfoEdge. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.